The book What I've Been Reading, written by Anthony Burgess back in the early 1960s. This is the fella who wrote A Clockwork Orange, which was famously adapted for the screen by the great Stanley Kubrick. Anyway, The Wanting Seed. It's kind of a tragedy comedy about a possible grim and cynical future set in Britain, a world of overpopulation and overcrowding, if you can imagine such a thing, where breeding is frowned upon and limited by the government, where homosexuality is not only tolerated but promoted, where religion and God are seemingly dead. It's also a future of continual hunger and strict rations. Our protagonist is one Tristram Fox, a schoolteacher, a liberal man, a man who thinks he understands better than most the cyclical nature of history. He seems to approve of certain aspects of state policy, but he's also a conflicted figure, I think, from the beginning of the book. He himself is straight, married to a woman called Beatrice Joanna, and at the beginning of the book we find that they've just lost their only child. Their son has just died. The state doesn't care. In fact, it's not seen as a bad thing. One less mouth to feed. Beatrice Joanna is an adulterer, having an affair with Tristram's considerably more successful brother Derek, who pretends to be gay, and he's learned to climb the ladder of power and get himself into an influential position. Beatrice Joanna hates the world as it has become, or as she knows it. It is a sterile world, lacking fertility, everything tightly controlled, including human reproduction. Just as her husband finds out about the affair, events, public and private, spiral out of control. Tristram finds himself in prison. His wife, pregnant again, looks to escape the oppressive environment in Greater London and heads for the north, heads for Preston to live with her sister Mavis and her husband, the cartoonishly Christian do-gooder Shawnee. So, long story short, society ends up collapsing and descending into cannibalism. The state pretty much collapses, but then rebuilds itself in a different image. Tristram escapes from prison, but is eventually pressed into the army. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. Tristram's love-hate relationship with his estranged wife and his pure hatred for his slippery brother Derek are themes that run through the book. Sticking point for me, none of the characters are truly likeable. Some are pathetic, some are greedy and vile, others small-minded, fickle. Yeah. Burgess, as in A Clockwork Orange and his other works, he uses a rich vocabulary and he's good at building tension, and he's good at those cliffhangers too. Keeps you wanting to carry on reading. It's an interesting, darkly comic take on a future imagined by a man from more than 50 years ago. Yeah, but the contemptible characters of the story leave a bad taste for me. sort of, made it not greatly enjoyable. I'll give it a 6 out of 10.